Okay, in this video, I'm going to teach you TikTok ads, how to launch them, and the overall best practices. So I'm going to go over why TikTok ads, how it differs from Facebook ads, how to source creative, setting up your ads manager, the overall TikTok ad strategy, and how to analyze your results. So let's begin. So first, why TikTok ads? Well, TikTok was the most downloaded app in 2021 with 656 million downloads. The app is rapidly growing. It has over 1 billion monthly active users, and not only are these users active monthly, they're extremely engaged, and 90% of their users use the app multiple times per day. So TikTok is everywhere now. You know, like everybody's using it. It's not only young people. So that's a common misconception about TikTok, is that it only has young people. Well, it did in the beginning, but now you get a lot of older people starting to use it. And that's the same as any ad. That's the same as any social media platform. You know, when Facebook first released, it was only college students using it. And as they grew, they got a lot more older people onto it. And eventually what happened is younger people moved on to another platform. So like Facebook today is a lot of older people, boomers and stuff. And younger people tend to use Instagram and tend to use TikTok a lot more. But that being said, TikTok is rapidly growing. You know, they have over 1 billion monthly active users now, which is absolutely crazy considering the fact that Facebook, which has been around for over 15 years, has 2 billion monthly active users. So TikTok is a platform to be on right now. And as a result, it is very easy to go viral. And it's the easiest platform right now to grow an account without spending any money on paid ads. There are people who are making TikTok accounts and, you know, going viral and getting 1 million views extremely fast. And this opportunity will not last forever. So for those of you who are interested in building a social media following and building a good, you know, brand account for your business, now is the time for that, right? And the next thing is it has great customer service in terms of ad accounts and the advertising platform. Now, Facebook is notorious nowadays for banning people randomly, you know, locking people out of accounts. You know, this doesn't happen with TikTok. Their customer support is absolutely incredible. So how does it differ from Facebook ads? So firstly, it has a very similar interface. You know, if you can run Facebook ads, you can run TikTok ads. You know, TikTok have literally just copied the whole, you know, campaign, ad group, ad, you know, hierarchy, right? So if you can run Facebook ads, you can run TikTok ads pretty easily. So, you know, it isn't very difficult to set up. Now, as a whole, TikTok tends to be a lot less saturated compared to Facebook ads. You know, Facebook's been around for like 15 years, so there's a lot of advertisers on there. But on TikTok, as it's a fairly new platform, you know, I believe their ads platform has only been around for, you know, 2 years. So, you know, it's a lot less saturated. It's a lot cheaper. But as a result, the conversion rates tend to be a lot lower. So the thing about Facebook is they have so much data on their users, which is why, you know, you're able to get very high conversion rates on Facebook. Whereas on TikTok and other ad platforms, you know, you don't get the same conversion rate. However, the costs are a lot cheaper. You know, you might be paying 2, 3, 4 times less per click on TikTok compared to Facebook ads. Next, it requires a higher minimum daily budget. And this is on the ad group level. So on Facebook, for your ad set, you can set a budget of $1, $5, $10, $100. You can choose whatever budget you want to set. But on TikTok, you have to spend at least $20 per ad group. Next, this is a huge drawback with TikTok ads. You can only target one region unless you have a VPN. So if you're based in the US, you're lucky, you can target the US and you can target Canada. If you're based in the EU, you can only target European countries. And if you're based in Australia, you can only target Australia and New Zealand. So that's one drawback about TikTok ads. I do hope they expand that out, you know, as soon as they can. But for now, you can only target the region you're in. Now, one major drawback for European advertisers is you get charged a 20% tax on your ad spend. Now, if you're registered for VAT, you can claim this back. But, you know, most of you are starting out and you won't be registered. So, you know, you don't have to pay this VAT, this tax on Facebook for some reason, but TikTok tend to charge it. So if you're based in the EU, you know, you have to pay that extra 20%, which is why I also recommend, you know, starting with Facebook ads, because, you know, you don't have to pay that charge with Facebook. Next, TikTok has a lot more broader targeting. Their targeting options are very limited compared to Facebook. You know, on Facebook, you can find 100 targeting options for, you know, for a certain niche. On TikTok, there's only like 10. As a result, broader products tend to perform better. So products that are viral, that are trending, that have a strong wow factor, that solve problems, and, products that like hack, like a hacking product, like look at this kitchen hack, so TikTok has, the types of products that perform best are broader products. Next, sourcing creative. So this slide here is very similar to the Facebook one we did. So if you haven't seen the Facebook ads video, watch that as I go into a lot more detail in regards to getting creative. But once again, with any ad platform, creative is the most important variable. And a good creative can only come from a winning product. So the most important thing you can do is find a winning product and then, get good ads made. Now, there's two ways to source creatives. Once again, you film your own creatives or you buy it online. The good thing about TikTok is, UGC content, user-generated content, tends to perform a lot better. As a result, just ordering the product to your house and just taking a few videos of your product can perform very well. So to create a good ad for TikTok yourself is a lot easier than creating it for Facebook. And then the second option is obviously to buy it online. And this is what I normally do. Go to websites like Fiverr, Billo, Viral Ecom Ads, and they can make your ads for you. Next, setting up your ads manager. This is an extremely easy process. It should only take you 10 minutes. First you have to sign up for a TikTok ads account, then download the TikTok Shopify app, set up the TikTok pixel, and before you launch, make sure you have your ad copy and creatives ready. Download this app here on the Shopify App Store, the TikTok app. It's a free app. You just install it and you can set up your pixel in just a few clicks. They have plenty of tutorials online showing you how to do this. It doesn't take very long. Next, the overall TikTok ad strategy. So the daily budget, you want to spend between $60 and $100 per day while you're testing. And on TikTok, you can only spend a minimum of $20 per ad group. So just keep this in mind. You want to have between 3 to 5 different ad groups. So once again, you want to run a conversions campaign and optimize for complete payment. This is the same as purchase on Facebook. And you want to manually place ads only on TikTok. Next, you want to pick 3 to 5 interests that fit your product and audience. Ideally, 500,000 to 1 million plus in audience size. Now on TikTok, there's very limited targeting options available. So, compared to Facebook, when you can find 20 different interests, on TikTok, you have very few interests that you can target. So that also means that your creatives need to be really good. And in terms of interest ideas, you want to browse the categories, you want to type in general keywords, and you also want to test broad targeting. Now, broad targeting, this also works very well on Facebook, but on TikTok, as TikTok is a lot more of a broader platform, this is definitely something you can test. And then you want to put in one creative in each ad group. And then as standard, you want to leave the ad group to run for between 4 to 7 days to really understand your data. So now I'm going to go into the TikTok ads dashboard and show you how to create a campaign live. So here we are on the TikTok ads manager. So once you've signed up for your account, this is the page you'll be put onto. TikTok ads manager is very easy to navigate. You have your dashboard, you have your campaign, you have your assets, which is like your pixel, your creatives, your audiences, then you have reporting. So once you've signed up, come to this page here and click create an ad to get your first ad made. And then you want to click custom mode. This is very similar to the Facebook ads manager. If you can run Facebook ads, you can run TikTok ads. So advertising objective, as always, you want to optimize for conversions. You can ignore all of these ad options here. You won't need them. Then campaign name, you want to put your product name down. Now I'm going to put product name. Ignore create split test. Ignore campaign budget optimization. And in terms of budget, make sure it's checked. We're going to set the budget on the ad group level. Once you've done that, just hit continue. And for your ad group name, just like Facebook, I'd put my interest name here. Next, when you go down, you want to click website for your promotion type, and you want to click your TikTok pixel. So if you follow the tutorial, you should have your TikTok pixel installed already, and it should be here. And you want to click TikTok pixel, optimization event. You want to click complete payment. So this is the same as purchase on Facebook. You always want to optimize for complete payment. Next, placements. Click select placement and uncheck newsfeed and Pangle. You only want to run ads on TikTok. Then go down here. Ignore the automated creative optimization. And then for custom targeting, come down here and put your location in. Now, this TikTok account here is a UK TikTok account. So I only have the option to target European countries. So for now, I'm going to put the UK. If you're in the US, put in US and Canada. And if you're in Australia, put down Australia and New Zealand. I do hope that TikTok allows you to target broader in the future, but for now, this is all you have. And for languages, leave it as no limit. For gender, no limit, unless it's a very gender-specific product, right? For age, you want to put 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, and 55 plus. Now, the 13 to 17 age here, these people don't have any money, right? And even depending on your product, you can even, target 25 plus. But for now, we're just going to put 18 plus. Then, you want to ignore this here, ignore these options. And here you can do your interest targeting. Now, interest targeting, like I mentioned, compared to Facebook, it's very, very primitive, right? On Facebook, you have hundreds of targeting options. On TikTok, there's not very much. So the first way to find interests is you want to browse the categories here. So depending on your products, you want to go through and, go through each category and, find interests that align with your product and audience. Let's say we're going to sell a dog product, for example. We can go into here and we can target, pet food. So let's say we want to target pet food. It's a 2.7 million audience size. Let's say we want to target, pet grooming. If you want to sell like a pet brush, it's an 8 million, roughly 8 million audience size. So you can try different interests in here. So you can do, we want to start with at least 3 ad groups. You can do 1 ad group with pet food, 1 ad group with pet grooming, 1 ad group with household products. Go through each of these. And next, what you can also do is type in general keywords that relate to your product. So let's say we're going to sell a dog product. You want to write dog, and once it loads, you can try dog food. If you click dog food, once again, you have 2.2 million audience size here. Now, the issue with interest targeting and typing in general keywords is most of the audiences tend to be very small. So if I write dog food is pretty good. It has 2 million audience size. But dog collar, 9,000. Dog training, 1,000. Dog walking, 21,000. Dog beds, 23,000. If you go through most of these, most of these audiences have very little audience size. And, like I mentioned, you want to have an audience size of at least 500,000 to 1 million. So, sometimes you get lucky and you find one like dog food, which has 2 million. But otherwise, the best bet would be to go through the categories here and, go through options here. And once again, look, you can't specify if you want it to be cat food or dog food. So the issue with TikTok, once again, is the targeting is a lot more broader. But once again, the algorithm will scan your video. The algorithm will scan your website, your landing page, and look at the keywords on your ads. So it should still be able to target your ads to the right people. But just be aware of that. So let's say we're going to do pet food, right? We're going to do pet food. And what I would do is I would name the ad group pet food. So I know that I'm targeting pet food. Then you can also do, UK, 18 plus. You can also, name it like that as well. But I just tend to do just the interest name. Okay. Once that's done, you come down here. For device, you can leave all these options. For targeting expansion, I usually, keep it off. Then for daily budget, you want to spend at least $20 or £20 per day. The minimum per ad group is 20. So, you don't have a choice. You can spend more, but 20 is the absolute minimum. And the scheduling, you want to set it for the next day. So make sure you set it for the next day at midnight to ensure that your ads can spend properly throughout the entire day. Next, you want to go down here. Make sure you optimize for conversions. As always, you always want to optimize for purchases and conversions, and you can start with lowest cost in the beginning. Once you're done here, just hit next. And this is where you make your creative. So let's say we're going to do the resistance bands, right? And put the name of the product here, resistance bands V1. Come down here, and in the ad details, this is where you make your ad. So you want to click upload and upload your ad. I've already uploaded it here, so I'm going to click from library and confirm it. Make sure when you make your ad that you have the right dimensions. If you're filming it on your phone, you have to use the vertical camera. If you're buying it from Fiverr, from Viral Ecom Ads and these different websites, when you buy it, make sure you get the TikTok package so they know to give you the right file format. So once your ad is uploaded, you want to go down here to text. Now, compared to Facebook, the text and TikTok ads, it can be very simple. There isn't a lot of space anyway. So let's say you know, for the resistance bands, improve your punching power with these bands. So you have 100 characters that you can use, but as you can see, you know, it does cut off. So let's say I wanted to keep writing, you know, 50% off. As you can see here, you know, it cuts off. So, you know, keep your ad copy short. Most people won't even read it. So, you know, the most important thing for a TikTok ad is the actual video. Yeah, once you've done that, you want to come down, ignore these options, go to destination page, click website, click standard URL, make sure it's set to shop now. And then for your URL, put down your product page. So this will be the actual product page that your product is on. And once you put that down, just put google.com for now. HTTPS, google.com. And then you want to click this box here, so you can actually, you know, agree to the advertising terms. And once you're done, you know, come down here and just click submit, and that will be your first TikTok ad. So once your first ad is launched, it should show here in the campaign section. It's not showing for me because I didn't submit the ad. But as you can see, it's very similar to Facebook, whereas you have your campaign, you have your ad group, which is usually the ad set on Facebook, and you have your ad. Now, once you've launched, you should have one campaign, one ad group, and one ad. What you want to do is there should be an option here to duplicate your ad group. You want to duplicate your ad group 3 to 5 times and test a different interest in each ad group. And once you've done that, leave your ads running for a few days so you can see which ad group performs best.